Chapter 62. Kufufufu, I am not pleased with this. Diablo watched as he floated above a world covered in its former residents turned snakes. Where are your children, Terra? He turned towards Terra, the great earth spirit. Boy, don't complain to me, my children are already doing their best cleaning after the others. Terra sighed, her 10 children were passing from universe to universe helping the ones that needed them the most. While the ones that are not much problem are being done by the rest of the subordinates of Diablo. Rimuru-sama will not accept such excuses. Diablo shook his head, he still did not know the full extent of Rimuru's mercy. He can't see where the line between being forgiven and unforgivable is because no one dared to even attempt to find out. Agni and Runa came close. The only reason they remain is because of a few factors. Rimuru was in a good mood at the time, they were still useful to him, and lastly is that if they defeat the great spirits they gain their powers. All of these factors combined managed to help Agni and Runa retain their position as his subordinates, or at least that is what Diablo and the rest believe. At best, I would rather be ordered to die than abandoned by Rimuru-sama. Diablo wished as he snapped his fingers, and a beam was fired to the deepest part of the planet before exploding into a pile of rubble. Where is Dee? I ordered her to come help, did I not? Diablo flew with Terra going to the next universe needed their help. Don't tell me, she is still holing up and playing around. Diablo scowled at the lazy woman. She is helping, Terra answered, recalling her colleague that she rarely sees. She had her people take care of a third of the problemed universes. This gives my children much more leeway to work with. She was not lying, Dee was in fact right about now enjoying herself by slaughtering the invasion of the snakes and dragon-like monsters. Along with her, the associates that are under her rule are also participating in the fight. Normally she would complain about not wanting to work and follow Diablo's orders, but for some reason, she was pumped up to fight the monsters. So I can kill those dragons, right? With those words, she did not even wait for a reply. Terra, pulling her out of her reminisce, she saw Diablo standing still in space looking at one of the lush planets in front. It was a planet that had 3 separate moons and an asteroid belt hovering over it. But that was not the focus of their attention, she finally noticed the monster they were looking at. They saw a large green-scaled serpent with wings hovering on the planet staring at them with its eyes. The eyes locked onto them as if finally finding the prey it had been looking for a long time. Diablo clapped his hand and a shockwave appeared signaling the start of something. Now then, Terra, if you would do the honors. Seriously, Terra with her staff in hand, flew towards the planet towards her assigned enemy Quetzalcoatl. Earth pillars. 4 gigantic pillars made from earth rained down on him. That's all. He shouted in between hisses, savage winds. From his snake mouth, strong winds that were sharp enough to cut steel like paper were fired at Terra, who was still coming down. The pillars of earth that were coming down faster than Terra were cut to pieces by Quetzalcoatl's wind attack. Terra did not react much to this, instead, she pointed her staff towards the broken down earth that was falling. Rebel bombardment. The falling debris fell with speed that could pierce through the skin of high-level monsters. Quetzalcoatl knew that is why he made a barrier made of wind to cover himself with. Terra finally landed on the ground. Let us end this quick. She pointed her staff again towards Quetzalcoatl, and pillars of earth raised beside him, attempting to capture him. He spread the wings on his back and flew off the ground, escaping the pillars that were planning to imprison him. Severing wind, Quetzalcoatl turned himself in a circle vertically like a wheel. And from his action, a large gust of wind that slashed through the planet was created. The attack managed to make a deep cut on the planet reaching a kilometer in depth, and as the attack finally reached Terra it stopped. What? Quetzalcoatl could not believe his eyes. The attack that had the power to slash through the planet was stopped by an old woman. Old hag, what did you do? Old hag, this bunch knows no respect. Terra shook her head in disappointment. What she did was harden the ground where the wind slash was going to go, and then she raised a wall double her size, that blocked the attack that was not connected to the ground. I don't give a damn about respect, what did you do? The flying serpent shouted. He continued to fire at Terra with the same attack from before. Terra remained silent, she could guess that the enemy was someone with a short fuse. She could use this to her advantage, besides she wasn't really keen to speaking with him. Even if she doesn't like how he acts towards her, Diablo at least treads between the line of disrespect and respect, but not this one. Mineral spike. Terra activated the attack that she was preparing. From below Quetzalcoatl a large spike made from different kinds of rocks and minerals. Ha! As if something like that could hit me. Quetzalcoatl boasted as he swirled out of the way from the attack. yet still near it, showing how close Terra was to hitting him, yet did not manage to make it. How dumb. Terra sighed to herself as she watched the spiked pillar of mineral start to move. The topmost part of the pillar started to peel itself into strips that had a thickness of 60 millimeters of metal cord. Thousands of metal cords rushed their way toward Quetzalcoatl, who was still boasting and laughing at Terra. Ah, whoa. Seeing the wires behind him, he started to fly away from the pillar. Yet the wires follow. It is as if the pillar and the wire have an infinite amount of materials to use. And it is not wrong for the most part. Terra is continuously adding more minerals below the pillar to be used to lengthen the wire and chase after him. The worst part for Quetzalcoatl, the wires were not just chasing after him. They were encircling him to slowly make a cage so that he could not escape. Geolock. Being surrounded by metal wires, Quetzalcoatl used his breath to force his way out. The wind slashes and their power does manage to destroy parts of the wires, yet they repair themselves as fast as they get damage. Shit, I won't lose, he shouted inside the cage that was getting smaller and smaller as time went on. The wires started to sprout spikes as well, making it like barbed wire. Well, it would have been hard to defeat me anyway, Terra commented. She was earth and he was wind. If fire and water are opposites, then earth and air would be the other pair, and not to mention Terra is the great spirit of earth. In the literal personification of earth, you would need someone of her level or stronger to even manage to harm her. Ground fortification. A female voice was heard nearby. She created a barrier underground that prevented the minerals from merging with the pillar to add in. Scarp pentagram. A black-colored pentagram-shaped barrier was aimed at Terra. Terra looked at the oncoming attack and made a pillar just in front of the attack and was stopped by it. She did take notice of how deep it went through the pillar. And who are you, young lady? Terra asked as she made the ground below her into quicksand. Orochi of barrier. She jumped and stood on a platform that was also in the shape of a pentagram. I cannot just let you kill my brother. Brother, that one. Terra pointed at the still resisting Quetzalcoatl. You don't resemble each other. Thank you, Orochi smiled. What a nice compliment. As they talked, the wired cage erupted after hearing a loud sound. As the metal fragments fell to the ground, a middle-aged man with green hair tied in a loose bun hovered. In his right hand was a war horn. He looked around until he found Terra before blowing on his horn. A large compressed shock wave was coursing through the sky going to Terra. Like before, she made a large earth wall in its way. The wall broke, to her surprise and Quetzalcoatl's satisfaction. Terra with her staff, stabbed to the ground. A circle formed around her, with a size of 100 meters in diameter. Then she spoke. Great tree. Wood started to rise from the ground. They connected to each other until they created a large tree that reached the sky. It's useless. Let us see you block this attack, old hag. The shockwave of compressed wind reached the tree. Then, as Quetzalcoatl expected, the tree was destroyed from the attack. But to his and Orochi's surprise, Terra was gone. Orochi, sensing something was wrong, was on high alert, and then she finally noticed Terra. Brother, she activated a 4-layered barrier on the back of Quetzalcoatl. The sound of barriers breaking reached Quetzalcoatl's ears, and quickly jumped out of the way. As he did, all 4 barriers broke and the large piece of rock flew by them before hitting a hill and creating a large crater. That boy should be satisfied now. I should finish you all up. Terra tapped her staff on the ground. The wave of destruction coursed through the ground like a large ripple of water. The ground cracked and raised high up, then fell back down on the ground, flipping the literal crust of the planet. Terra then raised her staff and the rocks on the ground started to rumble. Earth's hailing rage. From the sky, the asteroids started to fall in a barrage, each one capable of destroying kilometers if not more of the planet. And Terra has confirmed there to be more than at least a few hundred in the belt. Get behind me, Quetzalcoatl ordered Orochi as he blew his horn. Resonance cyclone. A shock wave of his own was made to counter the rain of asteroid. Supreme blockade. Orochi helped by creating a multi-layered barrier to make sure that they remained safe. Then the attacks finally collided, and it was a disaster for the planet. The ground, or the fact that only a few parts show any type of ground at all. Orochi and Quetzalcoatl breathed a sigh of relief as they remained unscathed. They saw Terra breathing haggardly as if she was on her limit. The two looked at each other and prepared themselves. Sonorous hurricane. A large whirlwind that was as sharp as the severing wind and as powerful as the resonance cyclone was fired at Terra. Penetrating barrier. The pentagram-shaped barriers with the size of a meter rotated, recreating a sharp blade. Tens of those were fired as well toward Terra. Ha! Wall. Terra raised her hand to create a pillar of earth again. but this time the wall was destroyed by Quetzalcoatl's attack and set her flying up in the sky full of injuries. The incoming barrier blades reached their destination. Tara attempted to use her staff to block them by having it produce branches. Yet it was pointless. The barrier cut the staff as well as her arm, then her legs, her other arm, until eventually she saw a large one aimed at her head. This is it. Tara's head flew off her head, and her body fell to the ground. Is it over? Quetzalcoatl asked to no one in particular. That old hag was tough, good thing. We managed to survive that attack earlier. He turned towards Orochi, who remained silent. Hey, say so, Methi. He froze on the spot. Orochi was floating just a few inches above the ground. It was not by a platform but because of the person behind her. Kufufufu, that was an interesting match. Diablo, who was watching from afar earlier, spoke as he used his claw to pierce Orochi in the chest, raising her. He dropped his hand to the side, as if trying to remove the dirt in his arm. Shall we start the real thing, Kufufufu? Diablo walked towards Quetzalcoatl with his bloodied claws from his sister. You weren't supposed to be this strong. That old hag was the strong one. Quetzalcoatl shouted in disbelief. Diablo was concluded to be a non-priority as Tara showed signs of being able to take the two down alone. How? Kufufufu, we'll have a nice long chat about that. ... After about an hour of Diablo playing with Quetzalcoatl, he was on the ground holding himself as he had tears running down his eyes and drool coming out of his mouth. His body was completely covered in injuries. His appearance betrayed the real amount of damage he had taken as he automatically healed himself with regeneration. Plural. Please. Have. C. Kufufufu, I suppose this should be enough. Diablo clapped his hands. Then the surroundings changed, and Quetzalcoatl noticed this first. The planet was back to normal. Orochi was still alive and was hiding for a sneak attack. And above him, the sight of both Tara and that demon. Now then, Tara, if you would do the honors. Seriously, she created 4 pillars. With those words, Quetzalcoatl realized that this just happened earlier. Was that an illusion? But it felt so real. That demon. What should I do? That demon is too strong for me and Orochi. If he tried to join forces with that old hag, it would be torture for me again. Wait, is this a trap? That an illusion to weaken my mental strength? That's it. It must be so. But what if? Quetzalcoatl gritted his teeth. He did not know what to do. Orochi, come here, he shouted. You blew my cover. Orochi stood beside him. What happened? We will leave this planet, stall time by flying in space. Those two are too much for us, but we can't just let them go. Quetzalcoatl flew away from the pillar attack from Tara and Orochi followed behind him. Kufufufu, all according to plan. Diablo smiled evilly as the two escaped. Did you have to make me weak in that illusion? I could recreate that scenario more than 100 times without getting tired. Tara complained as she watched beside Diablo the whole fight. I thought it was too obvious. Kufufufu, they did not have the leisure to think that. Now then, shall we? Diablo pointed to the two. He meant as they would have to chase after them. Do we kill them or capture them? Just chase them half-heartedly, Kufufufu. ... They escaped. That they did. Why did you let them escape anyway? Kufufufu, that is a secret for now. Is it something to do with your new ultimate skill? Oh, you knew I had one. It's not that hard to notice, besides the others probably haven't noticed your evolution as well. It has been 2 decades since you all last met, and you only evolved a decade ago. Rimuru-sama should have already noticed. It does not matter now. All of the primordials of Citadel have all evolved to become a demon lord and gained an ultimate skill. Tara was wide-eyed by that information. How'd you know? Kufufufu, I had a thought suggestion implanted in them. The only way to escape it is by using another ultimate skill. And as of now, none of the 3 are under my thought suggestion. What did you thought suggest anyway? That they admit that I am the most useful to Rimuru-sama out of us 4. They should be furious right about now and are coming here. As if on cue, 3 portals opened behind him. Diablo. To be continued.